Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, guys. And in today's video, I also want to show you guys how you can properly and effectively trade these markets that are fluctuating so much. They keep changing direction, and we're not exactly sure which direction Bitcoin is going to go in, or at least we can't say which direction we think Bitcoin is going to go in with a whole lot of confidence. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys some basic tips on how to actually trade these markets effectively, safely, and profitably. So guys, we're going to be going ahead and getting right on into the video. If you do enjoy today's video, what I want you to do is go ahead and smash that like button, guys. Like I said a couple videos ago, that like button was being none too kind to me, and we need to teach it a lesson. Also, make sure if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I crack stupid jokes and make cryptocurrency technical analysis videos every single day here on the YouTube channel. So without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and get right on into it. The first thing I want to do here is go ahead and recap what has happened here to Bitcoin over the last week or so, and kind of use that to build into our technical analysis, and then also use this market that we're looking at right here. And I'm going to show you guys some example trades, how you could have made those trades, what technical indicators were telling you to make those trades, why those trades were almost certain to be bullish trades, all of that and more, guys. We got a lot to get into in today's video, so let's go ahead and dive right on into it. The first thing I want to talk about is this crash on Bitcoin here. Bitcoin had been rallying for about 4 months, and finally we reached all the way up to about $13,900 and had a massive sell-off. We actually happened to be live streaming during this sell-off. Bitcoin crashed $2,000 in 3 minutes. It was ridiculous. And when you see something like that happen, that is obviously going to be a longer-term sign of bearishness. Clearly the bears are in control. Now, a lot of that had to do with the thin order books, and Bitcoin did just kind of fall through the floor. But part of the reason the order books were so thin and there weren't as many buy orders on exchange was because people realized that Bitcoin was getting into overbought territory. That's something that we talk about in the Bitcoin Academy, is the gut feeling of kind of getting an idea of where, what the market is doing, why it's doing it, and having that feeling inside of you without having to rely on technical indicators. The entire point of technical indicators, in fact, as a little bit of a tangent, is to give you guys kind of an aura and a feeling about what the market is going to do. You're not necessarily just supposed to trade off of one technical indicator. You're supposed to trade off of what multiple of them say and what the bigger picture each of these technical indicators is contributing to paint says. They are telling you something about the market, and your gut can tell you the exact same thing from your previous experience. That's a very important part of trading. Like I said, that's why we talk about that in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Anyway, from there, Bitcoin continued trending to the downside, and this was very clearly a bearish trend. One of the things you're going to hear me say a couple times in this video is the trend is your friend right up until it ends, guys. The trend is your friend right until it ends. It's very important that you remember that, because normally the market, when it's moving, is not going to be in the business of trend reversal. What it's normally going to be doing is it's in the business of continuing the same trend that it's already in. For example here, guys, Bitcoin made 1 high, 2 highs, 3 highs, 4, 5, 6 before it finally made a higher high. It was in the business of a downtrend right here. It wasn't in the business of trend reversals. We didn't see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trend reversals. We saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lower highs. So typically trends are going to happen, trends are going to be followed a lot more than they're going to be broken. And that's very important for trading, because you can reasonably assume that at least more than half of the time, if you make a trade based on which direction the trend is going, you're probably going to end up being profitable in that trade. And that's a very important assumption for your trading, because a lot of your trading is going to be either at the reversal of a trend or in the midst of a trend, and then you want to try and predict where that trend is going to end. From there, though, guys, Bitcoin did fall down here to a level of support that we talked about, around $11,500 to $11,700. It's a bit of a zone right in here, but this is the line we're going to work with. Just know that there is a little bit of margin for error there. Bitcoin did fall down all the way to $10,200, came back up, got resistance, and then made a higher low. Now, this is interesting. Bitcoin made a higher low here, and we're going to talk about some RSI divergence over here in just a second, but Bitcoin made a higher low here, and that is one of the early warning signs that a trend is about to reverse. Notice that we had the same lows over here, and we had lower highs. We were obviously in a downtrend. We were actually, in fact, in a descending triangle pattern, which we did break bearish out of. But when we started seeing higher highs, or excuse me, higher lows, guess what happened? Next, we saw a higher high. Then we saw a higher high from that, a higher low. We saw a lower low, but this may actually come up and create a higher high. This very well may be the reversal of a trend right here, but we want to wait and see on that, and we're going to get to that in a little bit. Anyway, from there, Bitcoin did continue this upwards trend. We did have a lower low right here, which could be an early warning sign of a downtrend, but it very well may not be. We want to give that a little bit more time to develop. Anyway, guys, now we're kind of caught up to speed on what Bitcoin has done here over the last few days or so. Now I want to go in here and cherry pick a couple of different trades that you could have made. I was looking to make a couple of these trades. A couple of them I noticed in hindsight, and the one, in fact, that I was going to make at the time, well, actually, there were two of them. The two I was going to make, I was very busy during the time and I couldn't make them, and I'll go ahead and show you those two trades that I wish I had made first. The first one has to do with this ascending triangle pattern over here. I remember this triangle pattern because I was sitting down, I had just finished recording the video, I was working with my editor, and I was trying to get the video out for the day, and I wanted to make the trade on here. I had the exchange up and everything. I was in the process of making the trade, but my attention was needed by not only my editor, it was also needed by two of my friends who were talking to me, it was needed by my real estate agent, it was needed by someone else, I forget who it was. I was completely split all over the place. That's one of the things you have to do when you're a trader, is manage all that stuff and still be able to get your trades in on time and pay attention. You have to set aside time for that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to at the time because I was busy with very important things. But nevertheless, I was looking for Bitcoin to break out of this. I was talking about, right when this was happening, was right about here. And I was looking for this breakout saying, okay, I'm pretty sure that Bitcoin's about to break to the upside. You know, we're in a bullish trend. We have an ascending triangle pattern. Bitcoin has still yet to have a bearish reversal. If Bitcoin does break out and then break bearish, I'll have like a 0.5% stop loss. There's nothing but profit here. I was going to come in here long with probably 5x leverage or more and ride this up here somewhere. And I was probably going to ride that probably to around $13,500 or so before I actually topped out. I didn't have an exact price target. I was going to kind of just go with the flow and see what happened. But I wanted to put a buy order in here because this was a good place to buy. Let me explain exactly why I think this was a good place to buy and long. The reason for that, part of it is what I just said. Bitcoin was already in an uptrend. This is an ascending triangle pattern. One, that's a consolidation pattern. They're normally trend continuing patterns. If you see Bitcoin goes into a consolidation pattern, normally the trend that entered the pattern is going to be the same one that exits the pattern. Likewise, it was also an ascending triangle pattern, which is typically a bullish pattern. Also, we were getting very close to the end of this pattern, so I was pretty sure that Bitcoin was about to finish the pattern. And I also remember when I was watching this, we started seeing some exuberance rally up to that level of resistance. You can see these last two couple of candlesticks moved much quicker than these other ones. They're much more green because Bitcoin was moving much faster. And we did see a volume spike down here. Everything was indicating that we were probably about to see a bullish breakout. And guys, I'll be honest with you, there's not as much evidence that this was going to be a breakout to the upside as there is with a couple of these other trades. But the thing is, you don't actually always need evidence of what the trend is going to do for your trade. You have to manage your risk and reward. If you're in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, I know hundreds, nearly 1,000 of you guys are now. I hear you talk about it all the time when we do live streams. The first video in the technical analysis portion of the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy deals with risk and reward. And what you need to do when you're trading, and we talk about that in the very next video here, the video after that is how to plan and execute profitable trades. We talk about in that video that you want to mitigate your risk while maximizing your reward. If there is a 5-to-1 chance that 5 times you're going to actually you're going to make money, but 1 time you're going to lose money, but the 1 time you lose money, you're going to lose 10 times the money than if you had won, then you're actually at a negative risk to reward ratio, because if you factor in how much money you stand to lose and gain, it's not a good trade. Right here, let me give you something concrete so you can kind of understand what I'm saying here. If I risked a 0.5% stop loss, but it looked like Bitcoin was breaking to the upside, so it was more likely that Bitcoin was going to continue moving to the upside, and there was a massively higher margin of profit up here than just the 0.5% down here, let's say 5%, and then not only do we have a 10x gain to loss ratio, we also have a higher risk to reward ratio because it's more likely that Bitcoin's trending to the upside. That's kind of a hard thing to explain very quickly here. That's why there's 2 entire videos on this concept that's nearly 40 minutes long in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. But that's the brief synopsis, is that you want to mitigate your risk while maximizing your reward, mitigate your loss potential while gaining your margin for profit. If you do that, then you can make a trade without any technical indicators backing you up, and statistically, more likely than not, you're going to make money. You just have to be able to properly assign values to those different statistics, the ones of margin of profit, margin of loss, risk and reward. You have to be able to actually read that, and that is of course where gut feeling comes in, another thing we talk about in C22A. Anyway, moving on here, let's talk about another trade. I want to point out one that I would have made if I weren't in the middle of a live stream right over here with this trade right here. Let's go on the minute chart so we can really get a lot of detail and definition on this. If you guys remember back to the live stream, we had something like nearly 1,000 of you guys watching when this happened. It was crazy. We saw that Bitcoin was trading up here, and it was trading just under $14,000. It moved into this pattern. I had this drawn on stream. This is still from the stream. Bitcoin broke bearish out of it. That was an early warning sign for me, and right around that time, I stopped being bullish. Any of the bullishness I had on Bitcoin was gone. If you guys remember from the stream, I was none too happy with Bitcoin at this point, and I wasn't saying anything bullish on Bitcoin. A lot of people were asking me, Jeb, should I go into a long position? Bitcoin's rallying. I don't want to miss out on this. And I didn't tell any of you guys to go and buy. And I was warning you guys that now's probably not a good time, to be totally honest, because what I saw was was this. Bitcoin had a pattern right here that if it were still in a very bullish state, it should have broken bullish out of. Instead, it broke bearish, came down here and tested support that we had previously gotten resistance on at $13,600, and then we came down here and we started trending towards it. If I weren't on stream, and I'm pretty sure I talked about this on stream, I would have had a short position opened right here, just below that, maybe down here, maybe a percentage point below, just so I didn't catch a false breakout. And I was going to have a high leverage short here because I was feeling that Bitcoin was massively overextended. I was hinting at that, and I did say that a couple times on stream, but I didn't want to say it too much and then have it blow up in my face. But I was very bearish on this, and anyone in that stream will tell you that. And I would have had a short position in here. And the reason that this would have been a good place for a short position was, like I said, you're dealing with that risk to reward ratio, and that profit loss, that profit loss ratio actually is something that you could call it. I'm risking maybe 1% on a leverage trade. I'm missing on a stop loss, but I'm also standing to gain a whole lot more because I felt that Bitcoin was very overextended, and it just so happened that this would have probably been one of the best trades I've done in quite some time if I hadn't been live streaming. But that's okay, guys. I want to bring you guys updates on the market. That's more important to me than my personal trades. I'm doing fine. I don't need that. But I know a lot of you guys are still trying to get profitable. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to a third trade that I didn't make. I noticed this one in hindsight because I was actually sleeping when this happened. I talked about this in the day before yesterday's video, I think it was. That would be this bottom right down here. Remember back to the beginning of the video when I was talking about how the trend is your friend right up until it ends, guys. And the reason I mentioned that was because, one, it's a valuable piece of advice for when you're looking in these markets, but two, it just so happens to have represented a perfect trade here in Bitcoin just a couple of days ago. This was very, very easy to predict, very easy to call, and unlike before where we didn't have as many technical indicators, it was mostly based off of my gut feeling, and it's being statistically likely to be a profitable trade. This trade would have been based heavily off of technical indicators, and it would have been a very good trade to make. The reason for this is because of RSI divergence. We see if there was a low right here, and we see if there was a lower low right here. Well, check out the RSI. There's a low right here, and there's a higher low on the RSI. If you were to take out a little trend line and draw that, that looks something like that on the bottom of the chart and something like that on the bottom of the RSI. If you guys have watched the RSI video in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy and the RSI divergence video as well, then you will know that RSI divergence is one of the most powerful technical indicators to predict a reversal in a market. Not only is it a very powerful technical indicator for predicting a reversal in the market, it is almost always right. You don't see RSI divergence get ignored all that often. Let me give you another example of this. There's actually another case of RSI divergence with highs right here and lower highs right over here. This is RSI divergence. This is classical bearish RSI divergence. There's one high, higher high on the chart, one high, lower high on the chart. I was talking about this on the 15-minute chart and the hourly chart back during that live stream and talking about how that might be a sign of a bearish rally, and I'd actually forgotten about that. That was actually part of my consideration for that, so forgive me for not mentioning that earlier. Honestly, guys, this alone right here was enough to make a trade off of. But also, if you go out to some of these longer term time frames and you check out the RSI, what you're going to see is that Bitcoin did actually get overextended on the RSI for the first time in a very long time. The last time we saw Bitcoin overextended on the hourly RSI was way back here on the 18th of June. We did get overextended on the RSI down here, and typically when you're doing buy positions or you're selling, or excuse me, not you're selling, you're longing, especially if you're longing with leverage, you want to wait until you have a good deal. You want to wait until the market is oversold, and then that's probably a good place to be putting in your buy positions. A lot of people are asking me, Jeb, should I be buying up here? I was like, no, look at the RSI. Look at the hourly RSI. Why would you want to buy up there? That's a terrible place to buy. You're getting a horrible deal. It's more likely than not that you're going to lose money on a trade like that. And by the way, we're not only talking about RSI when it comes to this bottom right here. If you look at the MACD out here on the hourly chart, then you will see that MACD's histogram actually started reversing direction and started converging bullish on itself right around the time that this RSI divergence was happening. Right here, you can see that change right there. And then we saw the cross to confirm later on. Remember what I say about MACD. You want to look at the histogram before the crosses. You want to look at the change on the histogram, then the cross. The histogram is honestly more important than the lines on the MACD. The lines are just used to calculate the histogram. Use that histogram. That's something people never talk about. It's very important. I do believe we talk about that in the MACD video over here. With the RSI divergence and with the change on the MACD, with us being oversold on RSI on the hourly chart, this was a very obvious place that Bitcoin was going to bottom. Now, with that said, had I been able to enter this trade, because this trade completely developed and finished while I was asleep, had I been able to work with this trade, I probably would have taken some profits here at $11,500. That's not very far up. That's not very far away. It is something like maybe an 8% rally, 10% rally. That's not huge. In Bitcoin, that's relatively big, especially if you're using leverage. You can make a lot out of that, but it's not as big as if you had, for example, waited out the duration of this. But we didn't really know that Bitcoin was going to go up here. But after Bitcoin bounced and had these reversal signals I just showed you, it was pretty likely that we were going to come up here to the kind of the governing level of support and resistance that Bitcoin's been respecting for a while of $11,500. And remember that we are not looking at the market as it is now when we're talking about this. We're looking at the market as it is right here. This is what we're looking at. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, that's so easy to say in hindsight. It's so easy to say that Bitcoin was going to do X in hindsight. Well, guys, if we go ahead and take away our hindsight, we can still see this RSI divergence right here. We can still see out on these longer term time frames that Bitcoin is having that MACD reversal, that direction change in the MACD. Let's go back here and show you that. If we go back here, we're going to see, okay, yeah, the MACD has reversed. If we play this forward just a little bit, then we'll see at the MACD reverse right there. As we talked about, the RSI was overextended. Everything I just said, it was still visible there before you actually put the trade in. And in about 4 hours or so, you would have made a good amount of money. So guys, basically what I wanted to do in this video is give you a rundown of some different trades you can make, what I look for in a trade, how I confirm a trade, how I make sure that my trades are going to be profitable, or if they're not, I mitigate my risk. Basically what I've done in this video is I've gone over a lot of the concepts in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy on the complete surface level. I didn't get anywhere near as detailed with this stuff as I do in the Academy, simply because I can't make an hour-and-a-half long video today. It is Saturday after all, guys. I got to take a day off every once in a while. But the point I do want to make in this video is that trades are not as common as you think they are, but they're also more common than some people think they are. The reason I'm saying that is because what a lot of people will do is they'll fire up BitMEX or they'll fire up Binance or whatever trade software they look at, and they'll say, okay, what am I going to trade? They don't say, what can I trade? They say, what am I going to trade? Now, what can I trade? What am I going to trade? Notice, these 3 trades were things that the market presented to me. I didn't go finding trades. These trades showed up in the market, and I was reading the market. I wasn't trying to fit the market to my need to trade. I wasn't making trades over here in this trend, even though there's a consolidation pattern right here that you could have traded the breakout of. I'm looking for when the market gives me very obvious trades that I stand to make a lot of money on, and I stand to lose not very much money on, and I can be very confident in. These are 3 trades over the course of the last 3 days. You don't have to make a trade every single hour to be a day trader. These are all day trader trades, but day traders might go a couple days without making a trade simply because they don't see a position. Some traders will see 20, 30, 40, 50 trades and not take any of them. They might take 1 or 2 of them because they want to make sure that the trades they're taking, they are confident on, they can make a lot of money on, they can stand to lose a very little amount of money on, and when they have all 3 of those factors, they can then use a lot of leverage and make a crap ton of money on those few trades that they do, while also minimizing the amount of time that they have to spend behind the computer so they can spend more time with their families. Guys, trading seems very complicated on the surface, but it's really not. It's just something that you have to learn. It takes a long time. It's something that has taken me a very long time to learn. It's not that it's hard, it's that it's complicated. But when you do actually understand the concepts that go into trading and technical analysis and investing, it's not as complicated as it seems. And guys, that is why I made the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy nearly a year ago, and I've had almost 1,000 of you guys go through the course, is because I want you guys to be on the fast track to being profitable traders in the cryptocurrency market. Big things are happening with Bitcoin. I think you guys realize that. If you want to check out the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, the link is in the description. If you want to learn how to do technical analysis, I highly recommend taking some kind of course because it's so much information that yes, you can go and learn all this stuff on YouTube. And it sounds weird that the dude trying to sell you a course is telling you that you can go and learn this stuff online. But here's the thing. You probably don't want to do that because it will take you close to a year and hundreds of hours. And if you're using real money when you're trading instead of paper trading, then it's probably going to cost you hundreds or thousands of dollars. Instead, guys, you can check out the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Be caught up to speed within 2 weeks or so. Most people go through the course in about a week, and they really start seeing results after the first couple of days when they start implementing the lessons that they learn in CT2A. Check the link out in the description. But anyway, guys, I do hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, tell me in the comment section down below if you would like me to do more videos like this where I point out previous trades and why you could have made profits on them. I realize saying things in hindsight is easier, and I also realize this isn't very helpful for you because you can't go back in time and trade a market that has already happened. But I do hope you guys get some good value out of seeing how I trade, what trades I look for, what trades I do and sometimes set up. Unfortunately, I didn't catch any of these, but these are 3 trades that I would have made had I been in a position to actually make them. Sometimes you just don't catch them, but the next one I'll try and get. I'll talk about that in the future. Guys, if you did enjoy the video, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, guys, if you were new here. But without much further ado, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.